welcome to my channel. I'm Erin Spain, and today I'm going to be sharing my garage workshop organization project with you. I'm going to be sharing the scary, chaotic before, which is what it looked like right when I moved into this house a few months ago. I'm going to share the entire organization process and then what it looks like now and how it functions as my workshop. I have to give a major shout out to Troy-Bilt for sponsoring this video. They matched me up with an organizing expert. Her name is Toni from A Bowl Full of Lemons, and I will link to her in the description box below. She shared some really helpful tips that help this project go smoothly, and I know you're going to find her tips helpful too, so I'll be sharing those throughout the video. Be sure to stick around to the end of the video, as always, to see me embarrass myself in the outtakes. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and click the bell. All right, let's get started.
Okay, so this is what the garage looked like before. I basically moved in, and then all the moving boxes and boxes from everything I bought for the new house all ended up in here. So obviously the first order of business was breaking down all of these boxes and taking them to the recycling center. Toni broke down the organization process into 4 steps, and the first one is prep. So part of my prep work was getting rid of all these boxes and then also ordering supplies like plastic bins and a label maker. Toni's tip is to gather several boxes and bins and trash bags and then label those boxes to sort your items. So she suggested the categories be keep, donate, trash, and house. Luckily, a lot of this was done during my move because I purged a ton of stuff before I moved over here, and I only brought stuff I knew I would need. Before I started sorting everything, I wanted to go ahead and hang my lumber rack on the wall so I could get all of my lumber up off the ground. After that, I moved on to step 2. Step 2 is sort. I sorted my tools into groups. For example, all of my router bits and accessories would go in one bin, my sanding supplies in another, and so on. So before I could organize everything, I needed to make sense of what I have and then get a visual of everything. And going through one item at a time, I placed it in the designated bin or box. If you haven't used it in the last year, let it go. That is Toni's advice, and you can categorize everything during this step as well. Step 3 is clean. Toni recommends clearing everything out of the garage and starting with a blank slate. She advises you to empty it completely and then sweep and hose down the floor and get it nice and clean before you move everything back in. Unfortunately, due to lack of space, I wasn't able to do it that way since my driveway is tiny, so I sort of had to do it in phases and work in sections. She does emphasize that cleaning it out and emptying it out is such an important step because you want a clean slate and you don't want to organize a dirty garage. So also, if you have a problem with spiders or ants, you can spray the perimeter of the garage with insecticide. Step 4 is organize. This is where my label maker, which I bought thanks to Toni's advice, came in handy, along with all of my new bins and my shelving units. Once you've sorted through everything, purging the clutter and things you no longer use, it is time to set up systems of organization. And Toni's tips are as follows. Create zones. Zones include areas such as painting and power tools, woodworking tools, craft supplies, lawn care, gardening, etc. Figure out where your zones will be and set up shelving, cabinets, and tables accordingly. Then label them, which I definitely had fun doing. Using your plastic totes and bins, you can label them with the categories you'll be using for your garage organization. And then place those bins on the shelves in the designated zones. I definitely took her advice, which is put the things you use the most toward the bottom and the things you don't use the most toward the top, because you want everything that you need to be readily accessible and easy to reach. Toni's next tip is to categorize everything in the garage and put them into a category because the garage functions best this way. So for example, nuts and bolts, paintbrushes, sandpaper, all of those things need to be stored together. And then using your labeled bins and shelves, you can sort through everything one item at a time. I do plan on building something to store all of my steel and metalworking stuff, but for now I just shoved my welding table over by the wall and then put all of my steel on top of it, so at least they're all in a zone together until I can come up with a better way to contain it all. While I did take advantage of my shelving units for all of the power tools I use most often and then for all of my bins, I did also take Toni's advice to hang things using pegboards or wall hooks. She advises you to hang things you use most often. So I got these metal pegboard systems from Wall Control, which are definitely coming in handy. So I'm hanging this above where my workbench is going to go, and this is where the things I use the most will hang. Tony's final tip is to consolidate. Things like yard equipment can be consolidated by switching to the Troy-Bilt Space Saver Lawnmower and the Trimmer Plus, which contains 8 tools in one, which saves storage space. Since I don't really have a yard here at my new house, Troy-Bilt did send me their 17-inch straight shaft gas trimmer along with a Trimmer Plus leaf blower attachment. So this will definitely come in handy, especially in the fall. As you can see here, it's super easy to assemble and pretty compact to store. After I finished labeling and organizing all of my bins, I did one final cleaning and swept everything with my shop vac and just got all of the junk and debris out of there. I do plan on eventually probably getting bins for all of the paint cans that are right now loose on the shelves. I have no problem with them being on the shelves like that though. They're easy to access. It'll just look better with bins. So probably eventually I will do that. I also want to build better storage for my scrap wood so it's not just like all thrown in a garbage can. So that's not ideal, but I'll get to that eventually. I did take advantage of my vertical space by storing all of my craft supplies up above on that high shelf since that stuff I don't use very often, so I have no problem with it being up out of reach. So there are a few things I would still like to tweak and improve, but you guys, I can walk through my garage. This is a miracle.
It's done! Whew.
I cannot wait to start building in my new workshop. As for the drawers in my workbench, I have my Craig tools in the top drawer, which I need to better organize. And then I have all of my wall control stuff, some measuring tools and stud finders, an empty drawer, more measuring stuff, another empty drawer, and then safety gear, and then the bottom 2 drawers have more Craig tools and some drop cloths. All right, so here's a reminder of what the space looked like before. And here it is now. I cannot tell you what a relief it is to have this project done and to have this garage workshop organized. Once again, big thank you to Troy-Bilt and to Toni from A Bowl Full of Lemons because this project would not have been possible without you, so thank you. And now for the outtakes.
All right, now I need you to be really quiet while I talk, okay? Thank you. Ow, ow. Ow. I'm so hot, Jonah. I gotta take my shoes off. I'm sweating from running around. Oh, God. Dropping things, dude. You're doing a good job being quiet, though. Okay. Hang on, I gotta take a break for a second because I'm sweating. Thanks so much for watching. You can find, I messed up. Are you giggling down there when I'm trying to record? And why are you hiding under the coffee table? Jonah! The bell. Let's get started. All right, you can pop up now. Ah, what are you doing?
Thanks so much for watching. You can find me online at ErinSpain.com and on social media at ErinSpainBlog. In the meantime, please check out some of my other videos and my playlists. Thanks.